All right, y'all. Welcome back to the show. We are going to be talking about a few things in the wrestling world today. We're going to be covering some AEW stuff. Going to talk about Britt Baker, Ricky Starks, the whole situation with him. We'll even cover Sean Ross Sapp and his stuff on Twitter that we saw. We're going to talk a little bit about Saturday Night Main Event, and we're also going to cover um, TNA Genesis and some of the superstars or the wrestlers that are leaving TNA. All right, we got a lot to talk about, and I don't want to keep the girls up too long, so we're going to try to move through this as quickly as possible. Okay, so let's start off with Sean Ross Sapp, since he's the easiest and most annoying. Um, Sean Ross Sapp has been on Twitter the last couple of days, and he has been going off. He's not exactly happy about the things he's been seeing. I understand to a certain extent how he feels in regards to the reporting that's been happening. He's not a fan of the parody accounts that report lies and cause mass confusion. He's not a fan, and that's fair enough. I mean, I understand how he feels about that, but at the same time, he not only has he gotten into it with one of the parody accounts, but he has also been calling out people who have been not giving fair credit to reports that are not theirs, and that he wants journalists to report the information fairly and give credit where credit is due. So let's start off with the parody accounts. There is a 10-minute video going around Twitter, which I'm not going to make you guys listen to the whole video, but I do think that a little snippet of it is worthy of being heard. When I say he was going off, bro. He was upset. So I did bookmark it because I'm a petty Betty. And I definitely was not mad at what Sean Ross Sapp was saying. I might not be the biggest fan of Sean. I generally don't like him too much. But it's not that he doesn't report the information as he should. He does. But he's a little arrogant, in my opinion, and he can be quite annoying in order to me. But like I said, I understand a lot of people looking to him for information, and a lot of times he reports accurate information. I've yet to see him report something that wasn't true and not come back and make sure that was cleared up. He usually does that. He's pretty good with that. And he also credits his sources every single time. I've yet to see him post or report something and he didn't credit his sources. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and, excuse me, find this post for y'all so y'all can see it for yourselves. Hold tight. Shout out to Marks with Mikes because they're the ones who reposted it. It's 10 minutes long. Like I said, I have no desire to sit and listen to something for 10 minutes. I can't do that. My brain will melt. Okay.
Yeah, man, if I ain't got the mental capacity to sit down and play Baldur's Gate 3 right now, I don't have the capacity to listen to Sean Ross Sapp bitching for 10 minutes.
And to be fair, what he's bitching about is not a bad thing. It's actually very fair. And he has the right to say what he said. Like I've said many times, like he is not wrong. When he's not wrong, he's not wrong. Let's put it that way. When he's telling the truth, he's telling the truth. And in this case, he was telling the truth. I just don't like him. I'm not a fan. That makes sense. Hold tight. It's going to take me a little bit to pull this up. It's buried in the bottom. So I hope everybody had a good day. I'm hoping.
Mine was okay.
Very good.
Only breathe out of one nostril.
Well, that's very good, actually. Should always be able to breathe out here.
No,
So
what
let
it
me see
is.
if I did.
Has been hitting like really hard in this household, and like I'm over this shit. Like, can we just get to spring already? Because like yesterday the temperature was like 7.
And there isn't a person.
Well, you
Hold
posted
tight.
the evidence for both
Yes.
without context. You posted it void
Perhaps
of
the source can
context.
provide context. We can get that. We can have that be
Sure.
made available.
Sure. And what you said was, after not citing it whatsoever, well, somebody will just debunk it if it's not true. That is not the way that works. Just because you are not a journalist does not mean that you just blurting out anything makes you void of any responsibility. That's why I reached out to you both last week and today about the things that you posted. That way I could do my job and figure it out. Then I've got you running your mouth saying, well, get to work. You should go and find this out then. Well, that's what I was trying to do when I messaged you last week and said, where did this come from?
You came with hostility.
No, don't give me that hostility bullshit. I reached out to you twice over things.
There's ample evidence of you
I
coming into people's
don't
faces,
care if I reached out with
airing
hostility.
people's screenshots,
I reached out to you
airing
twice
people's
last
screenshots,
week.
exhibiting a clear lack of responsibility, clear lack of and
whoa, lack of responsibility for what?
For releasing information.
For what?
You shared a screenshot. You shared information that was kept between us.
I shared information that I asked if it was accurate. And was it accurate? Was that screenshot accurate of you engagement farming? No. You brought it up.
I shared a rumor. I can use
No. You just brought it up. You said that it was hostile of me to share that.
I tweeted a rumor.
Brother, you're talking in circles. What are you? You said it was hostile. You said it was hostile of me to share that message that you sent to a number of people.
Initial response.
What was my initial response? Go ahead. Read it verbatim. Read it out loud verbatim.
Sean, we've gone over this.
Yes, we have. And it's me indicating to you and to anybody else reading, this is a guy who I have had to reach out to a number of times about posting misinformation and telling you, by the way, posting, somebody will just clean it up if it's wrong is not the way it works.
Sean,
and if you want, don't Sean me. No. You are void of any responsibility just because you're not a journalist. But you want to peddle rumors like you are.
A parody label to my account.
I don't care what you do. I care what you did.
I add a parody label. And
I don't.
The problem.
Okay, so by that sense, nothing that you say holds any weight, and that's fine. But you didn't do that.
Because
that's the point. You're out there aggregating people's news, using it for engagement,
Sean.
But you don't want the responsibility that comes with it.
This is a free app where we can tweet whatever we want.
That's great, and I am free, and I am free to do the same thing. Then why am I not free to do the same thing?
Then what are we talking about, Sean?
We're talking about, I don't know. You're the one that fucking cried a river about it and said that I bullied you.
We're on the same page then. I think we're on the same page.
And what I told you is, if you wanted to keep doing that, I'll just quote tweet you and debunk you. I won't even reach out and say this isn't accurate. What I will do is just you and say this guy's lying, or this guy's making it up, or this guy's peddling bullshit. I told you that. You sat in my DMs demanding that I take tweets down and apologize to you. Claim that I bullied you. Said that I slandered you.
So here's the agreement then.
No, there's no agreement. No. There's no agreement. You were making demands. You said you better get to work
on Twitter because that's what Twitter is for. You tweet whatever you want. I will tweet whatever I want. If I'm wrong, debunk me, quote me, ratio me. No problem.
That's literally what I said I would do hours ago. And then you made a fucking.
What are we
Then
doing
what, are you gonna let me talk, or are you gonna shut the fuck up?
See?
Sean, what are
What's
you
it
Me?
gonna
doing here?
be? No.
What are
Every
we doing
time I
here
say
then?
something, it's Sean. What are we doing here? Sean, what are we doing here? You're either gonna let
Because
me
we come to
talk
an
or you're
agreement.
not.
We have an understanding. You
We
tweet
do
whatever
not
you
have
want. I will tweet
shit.
whatever I want.
I said that.
If I'm wrong, you'll ratio
Literally.
me, right?
Shut
That's what we're
the
doing.
fuck up, dude. Man, do you ever
Sean,
shut the fuck up?
Sean, you
I
talk earlier.
said
When
this.
do you shut the fuck
God
up?
damn, man, you never shut
Sean,
the
you talk
fuck
earlier.
up.
When do you shut? No, I don't. You talk
Good
earlier. When do you
God,
shut the
you're a
fuck up? What are we
fucking
doing here?
moron, man. You
Okay, then
are
leave. Okay, then leave.
sincerely.
Then
You
leave.
are
If
sincerely one of
I'm
the.
Wow, the girls are fighting.
That was so funny.
I'm telling you.
That was good
Be my
though.
guest.
Okay, to play devil's advocate, I understand where Sean is coming from because that is a
Right?
big issue where not only on Twitter but social media, I see it all the time on Facebook, I see it all the time on Instagram, anywhere that people can kind of post stuff. You always see like this guy's claiming parody account, which I call bullshit on that because what are you doing with your life if you're posting on a parody wrestling account, homie? Like, go outside and touch grass. I know it's in the middle of winter, but there's got to be some out there. Go on a mission to find some. But I get where he's coming from because that always happens where they post the fake news, or they take other people's stuff without giving them the credit. And the whole time I'm thinking is like all the time back in high school and college when you had to do like MLA citation bibliography bullshit.
Yeah.
That hard to do. Like, no, so reported as, or I got this from, blah, blah, blah. But like, why did it just sound like two over emotional bitches trying to get into a screaming match with each other?
I guess Sean felt very he felt like the dude was sunning him. Cause he came on there and he was just like, you was saying that I bullied you. And you said that if I didn't do such and such, like he said he was making idle threats at him. And I was just like,
Stat was
this
making
is
threats.
no the air gold account basically was like, you need to take this down, or and I didn't Sean never got to finish because air gold keeps interrupting him. So I'll say this. I feel like he said in the beginning they had this conversation. They were having the conversation in the DMs, and then Sean Rossap screenshotted it, took it to the internet, and put their private information out there. And that's where Ergo got upset. So the issue is with Eric Gold is that he aired out their private information, which to me is you just mad because he put your shit out there for everybody to see. But then on Sean Ross Sapp's side, he's mad because the dude is making idle threats at him. Like, you need to go out here and rectify what you did. And he's like, you low-key trying to bully me into doing what you want me to do. But then here you are undermining the journalists who are doing the work, trying to make sure we get the information out there correctly and making sure that the information is correct. You're undermining us with your parody account, as you call it, putting out lies on the internet. Ergo's response to that was, I'm a parody account. Twitter is free. You can put whatever you want on there. If you don't like what I'm saying, simply debunk me, quote tweet me, ratio me, whatever you have to do. I don't care. That was his response.
Childish. Like my 10-year-old comes up with better comebacks than that.
I was like, well, I mean, he could do all of that, but where there's one parody account that you quote tweet and try to debunk, there's about 17,000 others that are doing the same thing. This is a losing battle for Sean Rossap. The only thing he can do is just continue to put out the information the best way he knows how. It would be like CNN trying to debunk there's a Twitter parody account for CNN, for MSNBC. There's a parody account for all of the major news outlets. Like, it'd be like CNN trying to debunk the Onions. the Onion's Twitter account when everybody knows that the Onion is not a real news network. But every now and then there's an article that comes across that account that picks up steam and people actually believe. And it has to be debunked that this is satire. This is not real. There's nothing he can do about the Air Gold account unless they are like directly quote tweeting him and then saying this information is wrong. This is, you need to be listening to me. Sean Ross Sapp and Fight for are telling lies. If that's what's happening, then he needs to go through the proper channels to get the account, to stop the account from doing it. Other than that, I would ignore their asses for filth. I would block them so they couldn't see my tweets. They couldn't see my posts. I would block them from Fightful Select. And all the other news outlets need to do the same. So they can't see these posts. They can't see the information. The only thing they can do is put out misinformation. That's all they can do. However, the people obtain that misinformation and what they interpret it as is totally up to the people, unfortunately. Because Twitter no longer has those checks and balances. So he's wasting his breath. But he was going off though. It was going off, but that was just we was about 3-4 minutes in, so we did not listen to the whole video. If you want to listen to it, you can. It's over on Marks with Mike's page. Shout out to Marks with Mike's. They are one of my favorite podcasts. I love them dearly. JT is over there. Just is over there sometimes from Get Your Podcast. They're over there. They have a really cool podcast. You should go over there and listen to it. So I don't know. I mean, as far as Sean Ross Sapp goes, I understand the logic behind what you're doing. But it doesn't do any justice for you. It makes you look unprofessional and you got out of character and you let him take you there. What you should have done is left it alone and kept it to a professional level, because you don't need to stoop to the level of a parody account to holler and scream and cuss people out online. You're the person who has the bigger platform. You have the bigger voice. Drown his ass out. Other than that, there's no conversation that needs to be had between you and him. You're very, very triggered easily, which is problematic because people who like fanning the flames, who like to poke, are going to do it because they know they can get you out of character very easily, which is a weakness in you that you need to fix. You need to fix it. Especially if you're going to be in this particular space, because the IWC don't give a fuck about how you feel, bro. They don't care about none of that shit. So even if it is undermining your business and everything in between, I fully understand that. I understand your pain. But at the end of the day, you have to be a professional and you have to operate as a professional. You also need to remove your emotions from it and you need to focus on the task at hand. If the kid is causing you problems, then make sure you do your due diligence. And if not, block his ass so he can't see your content via Fightful or your page. That's all you can do. Like that's pretty much it. Unless he started tweeting stuff that's dangerous, that could possibly get you hurt, or the wrestlers hurt, or any journalists, hurt, something like that. Report his ass for cyberbullying or some shit like that, and then proceed forward. Anybody else got anything else to say about Mr. Ross? Because he's
not really.
Mr. Ross Sapp. He seems to be very upset.
I think it's just, it is what it is.
Alexis, you good on the Sapp?
I think Mom always said if you got nothing to say, don't say anything at all. So I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut on this one.
Okay, well, I think I talked enough for both of us in that regard. Now, the last thing with Sean is that he was over on Twitter. Again, he lives on Twitter. That's where he lives. That's his home. Okay. And there was a report about Ricky Starks. And this is where we're going to start leading into AEW and some of their issues And we're not going to do too much on AEW because I just don't feel the need to go down that rabbit hole every single time we talk about it. But we do need to have a conversation in regards to AEW because of Ricky Starks. Now, Ricky Starks has requested his release from AEW. Okay. And he has not denied any creative ideas. He never asked to not do a particular creative angle. He has always been up and prepared to do an angle or whatever AEW wanted because he enjoys performing. This is known widely because he said this on Chris V's show when he did the interview with Chris V, and he's made it very clear on social media via his own social media accounts that he is not going to turn down any creative. He'll work with creative however he needs to in order to get back on TV, which we love that. Okay, good for you, Ricky. Here's where Sean Ross Sapp has a problem and where all the issues come into play. So the original report came from Cultaholic Wrestling. Okay, they reported it, and they made sure to quote their sources at the bottom, which Wrestle Purist is one of them, and one of the guys who writes for Wrestle Purist reported it, right? Then you see this account here reported, and they don't credit anyone. They basically say, I have been informed, or I'm hearing that, and I've been informed. They're not saying that they got this information from Cultaholic and that they're rewriting the narrative that they got this info from Cultaholic, right? So when Sean Ross Sapp got wind of it, he essentially was just like, you need to start crediting your sources because you didn't just get this information from some source out the blue. You got it from Cultaholic because they were the first ones to report it, which in all fairness, if you got it from Cultaholic, then at bare minimum, just say sources, Cultaholic. All of them do it. Fightful Select does it. PW Insider does it. They all do it because usually they're getting all their stuff from Dave Meltzer, and everybody is, quote, tweeting or reporting from them, or Wrestle Ops will, quote, tweet and report from them. But he said, and I quote, I'm begging wrestling fans to understand how reporting works. If PWN reports something and then I come along and ask someone about it and it gets confirmed, Fightful can confirm PWN's report of such and such. That's how the quote would go. He says, not I'm hearing blank hours, days, months after it's reported with no additional info. I promise asking someone, hold on, to credit where the news came from is not an attack. And I did the same for him last month when people didn't credit him. Maybe don't be an asshole about it if you don't know what you're talking about. He goes on to say, if it's too hard to grasp, just ask. That's it. I'm not on board with the, yeah, sure, it was reported hours ago and thousands of people saw it, but I'm using my own sources, so I don't have to credit the person element. That has been thrown at me this week. Get real. So Sean is not playing this week. He is going off on any and everybody. It seems that anybody can get it, bitch. So he's very upset that people are not crediting where they're getting their information from. This is a double-edged sword because it could very well be that the creator or the content creator we saw did get his information from a different source. Therefore, he's not giving the credit to Cultaholic or any of the other outlets because that's not where he got it from, even though they reported it first. In my opinion, even if an account has reported the information first, if you didn't get your information from them, you don't have to credit them the way that Sean Ross Sapp is saying. You can say out of kindness that this was reported a few hours ago by such and such, but I got this information from my source, and then go forward if you want to be nice. But he's saying that this information has been out for hours and hours and hours. And now all of a sudden you want to put it out to your followers and you're making it seem like you're the one who came up with it and had the credible source. It's a double-edged sword because he could have very well got it from his credible source and didn't see the post from Cultaholic or Fightful Select, because I didn't even see the post from Cultaholic or Fightful Select. What I saw was from the secondary account that posted the information. I saw this account. This is the account that I saw reported it, and I did not see Cultaholic's post until I actually went to Cultaholic's page to go see it. Don't ask me why. They both have verified checks on their account, so that means that the algorithm is going to boost their posts one way or another. I can't explain that to you. What do y'all think? First, get Sean Ross Sapp out the way so we can leave his ass alone, and then we'll talk about Ricky Starks.
Girl, I don't. Why are all these men acting so damn sensitive? I mean, I get it
Girl,
in
I
like
don't know. They on their period.
I get it in the case of that shit's being put out there, and I understand that. Okay, I really do, and I respect him for that. But like, what is it with? This is a nice way. Why are they all acting like a bunch of really emotional bitches right now? I mean, he was doing it. Seth was doing it. Corey's doing it. Like, are you all synced up or something? Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. I don't know.
But I want that's all I want to know. Really, that's the only question I really have. So if someone can explain that to me, I'd really appreciate it.
I don't know. I think they on their period. I don't know.
That's just me, though. Nicole?
I mean, I don't really have anything to say about it. I mean, I just don't care. I mean, he's right. And that's it. That's it.
That's the tweet. That's it. Moving on. We're moving on. Ricky Starks has requested his release according to Cultaholic and several other outlets. He wants to be released out of his contract. Tony Khan said no. So he will be waiting out the remainder of his contract. He will be taking indie bookings because he is allowed to do so, if Tony doesn't block him from doing that too. So
Bitch too. Like, there's word on the street about Ricky's been going around for a while that he wasn't happy and that he wants out. And while this sounds like we're beating a dead horse, I would just like everybody to remember that way, way, way back in the early days of AEW, actually, someone else say this because I'm tired of saying this. What did Tony Khan say that if someone wasn't happy being there, what could they do without any problems? Someone remind me
he
of
would
that.
release them out of their contract. He said he would let them leave with no problem. That's what he said.
And one that I've seen, now granted, we don't know how contracts work because I know like Tom, aka Baron Corbin, kind of got on Twitter and was doing that shit last week. But I've never even heard just like if they release you, you've got the 30, 60, or 90 days to write out your contract. You still get paid through that time, and then you can go do whatever you need to do. But like, I've asked my dad this, like when it came to like the NFL, MLB, NHL. I'm like, Dad, has anyone? And I looked it up. I've never seen anybody held back due to being injured. Like, this is a new thing. Like,
Those kind of when it comes to basketball, football, baseball, their contracts are different. They're structured different. I think basically what Tom, aka Baron Corbin, was saying was that it's standard industry practice and it isn't new news. The problem is his assessment of it is very much along the lines of what he knows from a contract. And I'm not denying that. I do believe what he's saying is true. I do believe that. What I have a problem with is Tony Khan keeps going back on his word. Regardless of what you say the contract is set up to do, AEW's contracts are different. They are structured different. They have tiers for their contracts on how people are getting paid. There's a whole different concept to their contracts. There's a standard for sure, but it is different. There is some differences in their contracts. Now, I don't know how or why they added that year of injury that Ray had to his contract. And Tom doesn't believe that it was being malicious or petty. He thinks that it was just common business. He's like, it's a contract. You have to honor the contract. Now, if in the contract it says that they can add in that time that you got injured to you before you leave, I mean, they're going to be paying you to not be on TV and not be seen. I would rather get your contract off my books. That's
Right.
just me. I don't have to pay you once I decide to let you leave. And that's the thing. That's why I was like, if you have a grace period where you're setting it up and you're like, okay, like kind of like with WWE, when you leave WWE, there's a 90-day period where they don't let you work for nobody else. You kind of, slowly but surely fade out. You're not on TV. You're not doing anything. But you're still getting compensated for those 90 days. All right, bet. So if they decided, okay, well, we're not going to let Ray out of his contract just yet. We're going to add that extra year on. They still have to pay him per the guise of the contract. I would want him off my books. I would not want to pay for that. I would want him to leave since I'm not using him. Why keep him? There are ways to get out of contracts. Contracts have loopholes all the time. Even the most ironclad of contracts have a loophole. I'm not saying that, everything has to be honored as it is and you need to just fall in line. That's what Baron Corbin was saying. He was basically like, you signed the contract, you knew what you signed up for. To an extent, yes, this is true. Even if you're frustrated, yes, that's true. At the same time, though, if I'm not being used on TV and I request to be released or my contract runs out, and then you wait until after my contract runs out, according to how the contract works, if the contract says you can add on this time, this injury time that they were out, I would imagine he would have to do that while you're still under contract with AEW. Something about it didn't seem right to me. So I don't know. That's why I said something about that is a little wonky. I'm not saying that Baron is wrong because how can I tell him he's wrong? He's the one who signed contracts. He's been in the industry long enough to know. But something about the timing of them adding that year to Ray's contract or his time in AEW, it just seemed very murky to me. If you were going to do it, you should have just added it right when he decided he was leaving. Right then and there. You should have been like, hey, listen, you're going to have to hold off on that. You owe us another year because you was out with an injury for a year. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I could kind of understand that. But it was just the way that they went about it. And then it just looks petty on Tony Khan's part. It looks petty on AEW's part. And everybody didn't like it when it came to WWE, but they're making excuses for AEW. And I'm not a fan of that. Now, there's nothing wrong with Ricky Starks. He had some minor injuries, but he didn't have anything as serious as what Ray Phoenix had. There's nothing wrong with Starks. There's nothing going on with him. So what exactly is the issue with keeping him off TV? You have two companies, and you could have him running in one of them, and you're not doing anything with him. He's just sitting on the sidelines. And he wants to leave now because you're not using him. He requested his release. It's up to the company to deny him or to keep him. They're totally it's at their discretion. But the question is, why keep somebody who doesn't want to be there? I will release you if that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And it looks like he's just going to wait out his contract until he's able to do what he wants to do. Nicole, what you think about Ricky?
I mean, is anyone surprised by this?
Really?
I don't think
No.
anyone's okay. I don't like it's the sky's blue. Like 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 the sky's blue. Like that's how I feel about it. Especially and I think especially after I think it's a combination of both. So I'm gonna unfortunately play devil's advocate. It is true. I mean, obviously, it's a contract. You want to and need to honor the contract. So I do understand and see that side of what he's talking about. But also, it's the sort of like morality part where we're like, oh, well, we're not supposed to be the big bad guys. We're supposed to blah, 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 do this and do that different. And it's like, okay, shit's not so different. Like, okay, you're still is a business, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that they're having like a hard time reconciling that with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not necessarily mad at them about it because it is what it is at the end of the day. Because I understand at the end of the day, you have to run a business, but at the same time, like, also just figure out what the fuck you want to do.
Exactly. Or just
'Cause
don't say shit like that. Don't
yeah,
talk. Stop talking.
yeah, just stop. Because if you never said nothing, you did this, and I've been like, you know what, Ricky, that shit sucks, but you just gotta sit your ass at home, buddy, and call it a
Because
day.
we've seen this
And
before.
I sure
Right.
would. We did that with Miro when he was complaining about his AEW contract. And we're like, low key, you just gotta sit your ass at home and write out your contract.
Yep.
As you
Yes, we
gotta
did.
write out that AEW contract because you was tripping.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not really about the contracts. It's more about Tony Khan and his behavior.
Yeah.
Because he double talking everybody. He's saying one thing and he's doing something else. And that's the problem. And that's why I'm like, fans are not going to believe in you if you lie to them, blatantly lie to them. One thing about Vince is that he didn't lie. You saw him coming. You always knew who he was. You always saw who he was. It was up to you to choose what you saw.
Yep.
He's a lot of things, but he was what he presented himself to be. So make no mistake, it wasn't like he was like, oh yeah, I love my wrestlers, I'll do anything for them. And he, to an extent, he was doing everything for them, but he also was very ruthless in business. They knew this. They were well aware of this. And if the tide changed today, and half of the wrestlers wasn't doing what he needed to do, they're gone. Because at the end of the day, it's all about WWE. You're a part of the system, but you're not the system. And that's just it. And if that's how you're going to go about it, then go about it how you're going to go about it. But stop presenting yourself as the good guy when you still have to run this business. And there are going to be days where you're going to look like the bad guy.
And that's
All
fine,
you have
but
to do
you
is keep
gotta
your mouth
own
shut.
it.
There it is.
Be the
Because
bad
if you
guy.
hadn't said
So
anything,
fucking
we wouldn't
what?
be saying nothing. We wouldn't be saying anything. We just be like, well, I mean, it happens. Shit happens, bro.
I've been
Gotta
like,
move
he's just
on.
doing his job.
I'm like, it's unfortunate. I feel bad for Ricky, but he'll get out that contract soon enough. He'll be able to go where he needs to go. And Ricky is incredibly optimistic, almost to his own detriment. He is optimistic. I do not think that he believes that this is his downfall. I think he thinks this is the window into his next part of his career. And it really depends on where Ricky goes. And to be honest, he could go anywhere. Do I want him to come to WWE? That depends. Because I do not want WWE to get overloaded with a bunch of people and then they can't use them.
Yeah, there's a lot going on
So
right
that
now.
Yeah, so that depends. You know what I'm saying? I want them to be able to come in and be utilized properly. And right now, WWE is real heavy. And if they keep adding more and more people, they're going to be to the point where they were when they were like joining WCW and WWE together. And there wasn't enough room for everybody. And everything just you felt so crowded. You know what I'm saying? They got to find a way because once they do that draft and they finally get people shifted around, because they're starting to do it now with this trade portal being open. But as soon as they get everybody shifted around and placed for the year, then we'll see how everything rolls. Because after a while, CM Punk cannot be with Seth Rollins for the next year. That just can't happen. They got to move him somewhere.
Don't wish that on us, man. Come on.
I don't think he's gonna be there with Seth long. I think after this Mania and Royal Rumble and all that shit goes by, and like I said, once they do the draft, they're gonna send Punk probably to SmackDown. Okay, and they're probably gonna shift Cody to Raw so they can start with Cody and Seth and possibly have that thing going. Because Seth is getting ready to turn back into being a heel. It's coming.
Yes,
But
it's coming.
yeah, it's coming for sure. Let us get into Miss Britt Baker. Okay. Now, according to the sources, and the sources are everyone, just so you know, everybody is saying how Britt Baker is problematic backstage. She has fallen out of favor with Tony Khan for some reason, and she is also somebody who could possibly no longer be a part of AEW. A lot of people speculate that she's going to be joining WWE.
I don't think so. I don't think she. Okay, I'm trying not to sound misogynistic when I say this shit. Okay,
Well, what
the
I
only
heard is that she's not like going there, is that she wants to attempt to go there, but it's not gonna happen, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
because
That
what can
was
she?
no. Go ahead.
I just want to know is like what can she bring to WWE? Because like for real, the only like here's what I think's really happening. Britt for the longest time was Tony's favorite, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like, oh, blah 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 blah. We're gonna give her everything because Nicole brought it up. Kylie Ray was supposed to be like the face of the AEW women's community or women's locker room or whatever. Um, when they were starting all this, and then she got bullied out, and then all these cases of like her being a bitch to people in the locker room, her being like real clicky, like I'm not saying it's all her fault, but it's just like people being real like it's still being like, because how many times have we heard this, like people were like, yo, it was like real high school back there, like people were always like worrying about pissing certain people off. And I honestly think the only reason she got that position in AEW is because uh, Tony wanted Adam Cole. And I hate to say that, but that's what I'm really starting. I want my internet fucking work. That's what I'm really starting to think about. And it's just
I
like all this stuff that we've heard, like she bullies people in the back, and that she was saying people like, oh, Thunder Rosa sandbagged me, and like all this shit. And she's just, I think it's just all this karma that she put out in the universe is really coming back to bite her in the ass. Pure and simple.
I mean, I'm gonna slightly disagree on them, like bringing her on to possibly had Adam Cole, because at that time he was like 10 toes deep in WWE, especially within NXT. Like that's when Undisputed Era was really on their tear, or like on their tear. And then also
Yeah.
at the same time, like when they did bring Britt on, like she was really good. Like she was doing like her circuit, like she was on AIW shows all the time, like she was really in the circuit. The thing was like I said, that happened situation or whatever happened with Kaylee Ray happened. She dropped out, so they were like Kaylee Ray was supposed to be like the focus. Obviously, like they had to switch gears with like Nyla Rose and then Rio and then X, Y, and Z and stuff like that. But the main focus was originally supposed to be Kaylee Ray, and then like Britt Baker was supposed to be like not necessarily the underdog, but the girl who was like sort of like up next. Like she was like who can I who can I think? It was basically like a Tiffany before she got cashed in her money in the bank. Like she was like very obviously up next, but it wasn't her time yet. But because that shit with Kaylee Ray happened, all the focus went after the rigmarole be like, okay, this is our focus, completely shifted to her. And then I think they were just like, oh, you're so great. Just so I think they could hype her up and just get her where they wanted and needed her to be. And I think it just got to her head, and then they just never corrected it because they're just like whatever, she's a star of the division, we just got to deal with it, just blase, just let's work around it. But now that she's not the focus anymore, now everyone can actually be like, okay, like, you know what, fuck you, you're a bitch. And that's my take on it.
I, I don't know. Just all the, I think it's just people finally got tired of her, and now knowing that she didn't have the pull that she originally had with being in Tony's favorite, that's when they were finally like, oh, we can speak out and we won't get in trouble or get something. And I don't know. I think this is just a lesson of if you are a cunt, this is what happens to you.
Um, give me a second, y'all. I'll be right back.
Okay.
But we gotta fill time.
I don't think
No,
so.
no, no, no. I just needed a second. Um, okay. So I think the way Nicole described it is pretty accurate. Um, people fall out of favor all the time. To be fair, it was about time. Britt was gone for a while. Somebody had to take her place. I think that with her being the golden girl, she thought she was irreplaceable. She found out very quickly that that's not true. It's unfortunate, but it's life. If she had curated an environment where everybody was having more of a camaraderie rather than having to rally around her and be her friend and kiss her ass, things might be different. But because that's not what she did, she's now looking at a situation where she's no longer the face of AEW in terms of the women's division. I'm gonna be honest, it really doesn't matter to me. I wasn't a fan of Britt Baker to begin with. I didn't think she was that good in the ring. Was she halfway decent on the microphone? It depends on who she was going up against. Question I was asked before is, do I want her in WWE? Really, that's not up to me. It's really not. It is totally up to DE. Totally up to them and what they want to do. Do they need her? No. No, they don't need her. If they do get her, could they use her? If she's willing to work in the system, yes. She either gonna comply or she'll be benched. Simple as that. That's pretty much it. I don't know no other way to put it or to explain it other than she got a lot of work to do. She has some pull from being in AEW and being a woman, being world champion in AEW. But at the same time, going to the E is a totally different scene and a totally different ball of wax. And she's going to have to work, especially in that ring, on her ring work. That's definitely something she's got to do. But I don't really have a feeling one way or another when it comes to Baker because I'm just not a fan of hers. So all I can tell her is good luck. Hope it works out for you. Let's get into Swerve Strickland. According to the reports, Swerve Strickland is not getting no get back on Bobby Lashley. At least that's what the rumor is. Swerve is going to be moving forward. He's not going to even have an opportunity to face off against Lashley again. He suffered a loss. They're proceeding forward. They're not going backwards. What I saw from some of the reports, Swerve wanted to go back and have a real battle with Lashley. They were creative, said no. And I was like,
Way to bury one of your guys. One guy people seem to be tuning in to watch you guys for. I mean, I don't like Swerve, but like, you're not gonna let him get any get back on Bobby Lashley, like at all.
That's crazy.
That's and you know that's
now,
how.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's 100% true. So we're gonna say allegedly, and we're just going off of what was reported in some of the dirt sheets, and it's a rumor for now until I get definitive proof that it's true. That's how we're gonna go about it, and we're talking hypothetically if this is true, just so people don't come at our necks and we cover our ass.
Do you realize how messed up it's for us to be like, nah, Swerve deserves better?
To be honest with you, no, I wasn't going to say that. I'm going to say, I told you so. Because if we're talking about the way I was telling them from the beginning, y'all was running around, especially all these fans. Y'all fans was running around talking about how AEW treats black wrestlers so much better. Look at how they treat Swerve. Well, let's look at how they treat him. I guess when Bobby Lashley, the bigger, the better, the blacker, comes in, it's time to put the little toy back on the shelf.
We've been
Baby, listen. We've been on this earth. I've been on this earth 30 plus years. Okay. And then I've seen enough to know when you're being used and played. And y'all fans watching don't know how to have any discernment or understand what's really going on. So y'all just accept whatever is thrown at you. And what you got is what you got. Now, I guarantee you, Bobby Lashley probably will become champion at some point. That is probably something that they are leaning towards. But Swerve should at least be able to have a bout with him, don't you think? With him being former world champion, held the company down. He had a banger of a feud with Hangman Adam Page. And for you to just be like, I think it's best that we just let this go with you and Bobby Lashley. They went after him because he was the top guy. And y'all just gonna let him get squashed like that with no get back, no response, no nothing. Okay.
Womp womp.
All I would tell you is I told you. But you deal with it however you want. But just remember that I told you so. Nicole, you got the last word on this one, and then we'll move on.
I mean, it's above me.
Oh,
That's how I feel about it.
Go, Betty. All right. AEW stuff is done. Kenny Omega's back over in AEW. He looks very, very well. He did exceptionally well at their PLE he had in Japan. He looked nice. He looks really good. Looks like he's been working out the whole time he was out. I gotta say, he looks nice. He's wrestling great. And I heard earlier that him and Will Ospreay are now fighting the Don Callis family. And they was doing some crazy shit. But you can see it all over Twitter.
Honestly,
WrestleOps
I
has the
popped a
clip.
little bit. I popped a little bit for that. I'm probably gonna
It's
watch that
crazy.
match. I said, "Oh, this is exciting. I
It's
think
a
I
little.
want to watch this match."
It was a little nuts. It was a little nuts. They was over there climbing scaffolds and climbing the arena where the fans at. They both moonsaulted off of both of the damn things. Death defying shit. It was nuts. Okay. You want to see the clip? Like I said, you can go to WrestleOps and see it. I'm sure AEW has reposted it if you want to see it, but you're gonna get a little hypey when you see it, especially if you're a high flyer wrestling fan. You like that type of wrestling. That's something that you're gonna want to see.
I can't believe they're tag champions. This is so crazy.
Who?
It's Hurt Syndicate.
Who's tag?
I thought Private Party was.
Wait a minute. They beat Private Party?
Yeah.
Fuck! You gotta be fucking kidding
So
me.
who's holding the titles? Lashley, or are they gonna do some Freebird rule shit?
No, it's Lashley and Shelton.
Okay. Okay. Damn, Private Party didn't even get. All right, never mind.
Nice.
Keep my mouth shut. I will be quiet. Let's move out of AEW territory. Congratulations to the Hurt Syndicate, y'all champions. Love that for you. TNA Genesis was happening this past weekend. They had some pretty decent matches on the card. Tessa Blanchard got called a racist by the fans.
That was great. That was fucking.
In the middle of the match, the fans just started berating her and calling her a racist. It was so fucking funny. I'm sorry. It was hilarious. She did ultimately beat Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace, that was her send-off from TNA. At the end of the show, well, after everything was done, all the wrestlers and Gail Kim gave her a send-off. They told her she was the ultimate knockouts champion. She's always going to be the knockouts champion. They gave her that OG knockout belt, the black one. They gave her that one to take home with her. And everybody gave her a nice send-off and gave her a hug and told her they were going to miss her and Jordan Grace is gone from TNA officially. So more than likely, she will pop up in the Royal Rumble, which I am very excited about. Also, PCO was notably absent from TNA Genesis, even though he is the current digital media champion, but he did something a little crazy. PCO destroyed that digital media championship.
That was weird.
I don't know why he did this. But he no longer is under contract with TNA, as far as I know. He wanted out of the deal. He's out of his deal. But he destroyed that belt. Don't know if he's going to be reprimanded for that or if he's going to get in trouble for that. But yeah, he destroyed it in plain view where people can record it, put it on the internet, and they definitely did. And then we have Josh Alexander's I Quit match with Mike Santana. So Mike Santana beat Josh Alexander. He did quit. But not only did he quit, he also announced that he was quitting TNA. Now, Santino Marella made it very clear to Josh Alexander that he just couldn't quit like that. He had to come back to TNA Thursday and address the TNA audience. And I guess, though, we'll see if Josh Alexander have his final match or not. Don't know. But his wife is gone from TNA, and Josh Alexander is not too far behind. His contract is not up officially until around February, early
and
March.
Mackenzie Mitchell is back
somewhere.
Is working there.
She is doing the ring announcing. She looked great, by the way. And I like Mackenzie. I still don't understand why they fired her from NXT. I love Mackenzie when she was in NXT.
No fucking sense to me. I'm still pissed about that.
It didn't make any. I loved her. I thought she was great.
But they got that one bitch. Oh God. Can't stand how she dresses.
I like Mackenzie. I'm still upset about that. I really didn't. I didn't like the fact that she had got fired. But she's back. She's over in TNA, and she's gonna be doing the ring announcing there. So we love that for her. And then on the good part, the fun part, Joe Hendry is your TNA World Champion. He finally got the title. He beat Nick Nemeth. Okay. Frankie Kazarian tried to come in and use his Call Your Shot trophy, but JBL popped up like a goddamn... I don't know what the fuck is going on with JBL in TNA. I have no clue. But he keeps popping up every now and then at these smaller PLEs, just fucking clotheslining the shit out of people. And it's always like during Nick Nemeth's matches. It's always...
That's weird.
I don't understand it. Right. And I'm like, what is the Lone Ranger doing? What is happening? And I swear to you, he always shows up, cowboy boots, jeans, long brown trench coat, cowboy hat, brim down, like he's a bounty hunter waiting for his bounty to come out. It's very odd. I don't understand it, but I guess they'll figure that shit out. I don't know. But Joe Hendry is your new champion. He's leading in the new era. Masha Slamovich retained her championship. Spitfire retained their championship. And unfortunately, Moose retained his championship. He went up against Ace Austin, which I low-key wanted Ace Austin to get that title back. But they lost. And there is an update on Chris Bay. I can't remember who reported it, so my apologies. And if I can post it in the comments, I will when this posts. But Chris Bay is no longer paralyzed; he can move now. So it's a very good sign. He is recovering at good speed. The doctors say, according to the article. I did save it, but I can't find it, so I apologize. I'll make sure I post the right info on our community tab in here, so you guys can see it for yourselves as well. But they did say that Chris Bay is moving. He can talk. He's no longer paralyzed, and they do feel like give him some time, and he should be back to his old self, and eventually he'll make his way back to the wrestling ring too. So that is a very,
That
very
was
good
from
sign.
RVD's podcast because
Thank
he
you. I
said
couldn't
him
remember
and
who it was.
because he said him and Katie, he said their house, I guess they don't live that far from Chris Bay, so they said that they've gone to
Hmm.
visit him.
Hmm.
So they were like, yeah, he's like, not paralyzed, which I didn't even know he was like well, obviously, probably a lot of us didn't know that he was paralyzed, which that is so crazy.
Hmm.
Just thank goodness. Thank goodness. That's
I just want him to get better. I really don't care about him getting back in the ring. I just want him to get back to being healthy again. That's all I want. The ring
Yeah.
stuff can wait. Just get back to being healthy. So, good luck, babes. I really, really just want you to focus on getting healthy. But thank you, Nicole, because I couldn't remember who it was, and I had it in my phone, and then I don't know, I was going through
Yeah.
deleting stuff, and I lost it. I was like, God damn it!
And it's so funny because it's like I could just like picture RVD saying it, and it's like a very serious conversation, but he's like, obviously his voice and
And
being
hi.
like, yeah. But also, I just think, but that's also really nice that him and Katie keep an eye on him and like go try to visit him regularly.
Yeah, I'm glad. And then a lot of the fans donated to help him out through this surgery and everything, which just fine. It just shows that the wrestling community is not all bad, and there are some good people in the community. And when we need to come together, we know how to come together. So I love that. Now, TNA Genesis is in the books. A new era of TNA is on the horizon. So you have a lot of WWE talent was popping up at Genesis. Cora Jade confronted Masha Slamovich, and it looks like they may have a little tip for tat situation there. The tag team champions showed up, and we're watching the tag team match between the Hardys and the Rascals. So much so that the Rascals have been granted a tag team championship match at TNA this Thursday. I want to say it's this Thursday. So
Yes.
yeah, Babes gave it a thumb up. It's Thursday. They're gonna have their title match Thursday on TNA. So if you want to watch TNA, you can watch it via their app. And it's like $9.99 if you want to watch it. I know that sometimes they have a promotion where you can get a free trial over there. And TNA runs ads over on Instagram for sponsored stuff. So you guys, if you want to get in on that and see that match, which I suspect that match is going to be pretty fucking fire, I really suggest that you go ahead and go sign up for TNA's website as quickly as possible.
Lock in for it.
With that being with that being said, the last person that showed up, or the first person that showed up, was Ashanti the Adonis. Ashanti the Adonis showed up and issued an open challenge. And his open challenge was answered by none other than Jake Something. Jake Something beat his ass. I don't know what Ashanti was doing, but he got his ass whooped. That's what it explained. He got beat up, babes. It was a hitman type of situation. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Other than that, I don't think nobody else from WWE showed up. It was Ashanti the Adonis, Cora Jade, and the tag champs. They showed up. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Now, this past Tuesday over in NXT, there were no pop-ups from TNA wrestlers. Y'all know that the deal between WWE and TNA has been re-upped and they've extended it. So they're going to be producing more collaborative talent, more collaborative entertainment for us as the fans with WWE's NXT and TNA. I don't know how they're going to do this, but I'm hoping and praying that they do a Worlds Collide type of event, because I really want to see that. And I feel like that would be a lot of fun. I wish they would do it around Survivor Series so they can do like a brand supremacy type thing, which would be like really cool. But or they could do like a brand versus brand in War Games. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get us something different for War Games so we can stop with the storylines.
I'm so fucking
that
sick of
are
War Games.
Yeah.
I'm so sick. Fucking
It's not
sick of
fun
War Games.
anymore, and I want it to be
so sick of
fun.
it.
I love War Games. I love War Games, and I want it to be fun. I want it to be interesting again, and they can make it interesting again if they up the ante. They gotta up the ante. I don't mind a good TNA invasion on NXT or on WWE in general, and then they take some of the NXT people, some of the WWE people from the brands, and they mix them together and do a War Games. I don't mind that. You know what I'm saying? Make it so that we can fight. Make it so that it's fun. Now, what you say, Alexis?
Good, so we're not bored.
Yeah. I want a good storyline. If you're gonna do a storyline, don't just make it so that the storyline fits into the puzzle box. If that makes sense, let it be something worthwhile. But anyways, I don't know where they're gonna head with this deal with TNA and WWE, but I am looking forward to it. I am curious as to how everything is going to play out. Now, we got a few more things to cover, y'all, and then I promise we're gonna be out y'all here. So we have the match card for Saturday Night Main Event. They usually have 5 matches for Saturday Night Main Event, and the match card is as follows for now. Jey Uso will face off against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Nia Jax is facing off against Rhea Ripley for her World Heavyweight Championship. And Sheamus is facing off against Braun Breaker for his Intercontinental Championship. And Jacob Fatu is facing off against Braun Strowman. And you have Cody Rhodes facing off against Kevin Owens, which I had that graphic, but it's not up here, which fucking sucks. But actually, he's not facing off against Kevin. They're going to have a contract signing, and they're going to have Shawn Michaels oversee the contract signing. That's what's happening there. So I apologize for the mistake, the misinformation. Neither one of the men wanted to sign the contract. They were very adamant that if one didn't sign the contract, they weren't going to sign it. So Shawn Michaels was called because they're going to be in San Antonio, Texas, and y'all know that's his hometown. So what happened, Alexis? You went out.
Beat up.
I don't know. I mean, they got into it Friday. They kept attacking each other, and what's his name? Nick put an addendum in the contract that they can't touch each other for those 2 weeks leading into Royal Rumble. So neither one of them would sign the contract. And because both of them kept going off on him and disrespecting him, he was just like, y'all don't want to fucking listen to me. Y'all don't want to sign a damn contract. So we just going to, make it so that you sign the contract at Saturday Night Main Event. And maybe if Shawn Michaels is there, you'll listen to him and sign the contract with him. So that's what they did. They set this up so that there was a contract signing for it, and Shawn Michaels is supposed to facilitate it between the two men. They're going to take those belts from them at the main event, according to what Nick said. They're going to be hanging above the ring, and then they're not coming down until one of them pulls them down at Royal Rumble. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know.
Oh boy.
So that is your lineup. This all happens this Saturday on the 25th. So that's your lineup for the match card. If you care, I'm very indifferent to this one because they didn't really give us a lot. I don't understand why Nia Jax was ported from SmackDown over to Raw to face off against Ripley for her title at Saturday Night Main Event. I don't understand.
Could be just because with her getting her title back and it being close, we're getting closer to Rumble. They probably don't want something major. I don't know. That's just my theory, though.
I feel like you could have doubled. You could have did a battle royal to determine her opponent. You didn't have to go to Nia because now not only did Nia get this title shot, she's gonna go back over to where Tiffany is and demand that title shot from her too. So Nia's gonna be getting 2 title shots in a span of what, like 2 weeks? Because there's no title shots being there's no title matches being booked for Royal Rumble yet, other than Cody's. The main event for Royal Rumble obviously is the men's and women's Royal Rumble and Cody's match with Kevin. The women's match isn't set. The men's match isn't set in terms of Gunther because he's got to get Jey Uso out the way. Intercontinental Championship isn't set, and you don't have a title match set for the United States Championship. You have not built anything with the US title yet. So my problem with this is that it's in the way. And I don't like it. Because next Saturday is Royal Rumble. That's the first. So what are you doing? It's my point. Like what are you doing?
I don't know. To be honest, I really don't care about Saturday night main events. I just want to get to the Rumble part. So, yeah, that's all I really care about. And I didn't watch Raw this week, so
I like it when it's not in the way. I'm not mad at it. I like it when it's not in the way. It's they have to get the specials out the way. They promised them these specials. It's fine. I don't mind Jey Uso going up against Gunther on Saturday Night Main Event. I don't mind that. But it just like you could continue this into Royal Rumble as well, especially if Jey Uso happens to pull this off and he wins that title. That'll be craziness going into Rumble.
Well, it's not even. It's the placement of the Saturday night's main event, I think, which is making everybody, because it's like, okay, like why do we have a TV live event literally the week before Rumble? It's weird. Like, why didn't we book this for after Rumble, or like 2 weeks ago or something? Like, it should have been spaced out way more.
Yeah, and I don't understand why there's only one women's match on this whole card. I don't get it. Because you could have very well put Bianca and Naomi and Lash's match on this card. And you could have had Shawn Michaels and them come over to Alexa says she'll be back. You could have had Shawn Michaels and them come over to a SmackDown and do this. I understand they're going to be in Texas, but where is Rumble going to be? Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it was unnecessary. Y'all are stretching this out too much and you don't need to. They either sign a contract or neither one of them will get the titles and you strip them of their titles if they don't comply. I don't understand why you have to act like it's their choice. It's not your choice. Sign the goddamn contract or you're going to be stripped. Period. I don't need Shawn Michaels to do shit. What the fuck can Shawn Michaels do that I can't do? He ain't got no power. What are we doing? What are we doing? Is all I'm
Yeah, I
asking.
don't understand
What's
why
happening?
we're calling. I don't understand why we're calling Shawn Michaels either.
I mean, you can have him show up in San Antonio because it's day in San Antonio, Texas. That is fine.
Is that
I don't
where
have a
he's
problem
from?
with that. That's what they say, babe.
Oh, good for him.
The ghost studio.
I'm gonna let y'all know I
Now,
don't give a fuck about where Shawn Michaels is from.
Jesus. So tired. Shit. Last but not least, all right, and we're gonna get out of here. Netflix. So Netflix is going up $1 or $2, depending on the tier that you are in. Okay. So Netflix is raising their subscription prices in the US. The ad supported tier will now cost $7.99 per month, and it goes up from $6.99. The premium tier will now cost $24.99 per month, up from $22.99 per month. Okay. This is not something that we didn't know was going to happen. We were well aware that Netflix was going to go up on their prices. It is what it is. WWE and Netflix seem to be having a very happy, loving relationship. Netflix is extremely ecstatic about the traffic they're getting to their app every Monday. The way the live stream is working, it works perfectly. I have to say, they have truly done the due diligence to protect the integrity of their company and the quality of the streaming from WWE. It mimics watching network cable television easily. The commercials aren't in the way. You get that dual screen of TV. You know, you get to watch it the show. Most of the time the commercials aren't that bad or too long. If you have ad supported Netflix, then you know. If you don't, you don't. It's totally up to you what you can afford and what you can't. I say go with the ad supported tier. It's It's cheaper. You can watch what you want to watch. Ads might pop up, but you're used to watching ads on network cable television, so it's not that big of a deal. This raise in prices isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but if Netflix continues to roll the way that it has, given um, the success of WWE being over there and the possibility of them now producing documentaries over on Netflix, it's going to be an interesting time because eventually Peacock's deal is going to be up with WWE. I do not think they're going to renew their deal with Peacock. I think they're going to port everything over to Netflix once this deal is over. And that's when the real shit will begin because they're going to be then hosting the PLEs as well. So I won't have to pay for Peacock no more, thank God, because I don't want to pay for all these services. I'd rather get all my shit in one spot. And since Hulu couldn't keep their shit together, we can't get it through them. But whatever. Well, Nicole, what do you think?
I mean, I'm not really surprised. I said we talked this before. Like they've been said they were gonna go up in numbers. I do agree. I did think it was gonna be more than what it was. So I'm surprised by that. And I feel like Netflix just keeps getting more and more expensive. So I'm never surprised by any time they raise the prices for fucking anything anymore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this happened with Hulu. Hulu used to be a lot cheaper, and then they added live television,
Yeah.
and now they're about the cost of basic cable at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's fine. You know, I'm not mad at it. Y'all If you want to watch Raw, you gotta have a Netflix account. They do have it set up to where they are cracking down on password sharing, and you have to add a person to your account. It's like $7.99 a
Oh,
month to add a
it's
person to your
difficult
account.
too.
Mm-hmm. And I think they have to be in the same city as you. Y'all can't be, and if you're in the same household, password sharing is okay because y'all in the same house, so it's not like you out state watching somebody else's Netflix. But if you want to be able to share your Netflix, you have to go to your Netflix account and go down, and it'll say, if you want to share, this person has to pay. You have to pay $7.99 to share it, and you can only share it with one other person.
Yeah, it was giving me a hard time when I was trying to add my mom because it's again, the only reason I always had Netflix because she watches it all the time. And it was giving me such a
Mm-hmm.
hard time because we don't live in the same city. And then it was like
Yep.
I had to do that $7.99, and they was trying to have me add on another like $5.99 or something. I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yep. Yep. So they are very adamant about password sharing. Hulu got it set up to where you can't do that. If you even so much as go out of town and access your Hulu, it takes you through a whole rigmarole to tell you that you're accessing it from a different city. Is this you? Prove this is you. And if you share it with somebody who's not in your household and they live in a different zip code than you, Hulu will automatically stop you from sharing it. You can't do it. Netflix is doing the same fucking thing. So
Well, you can
password
share
sharing is
it because I'm on my mom's Hulu account. You just can't watch live TV. So you can't
you
watch
can't watch the live.
yeah, so you can't watch any live TV, and you can't access
Mm.
anything that is even if it's quote unquote streaming, but it's also pulled from the the channel. You can't watch it. So like what's that stupid show I watch it all the time when I go home? Um Amish Mafia. So something with
Yeah.
Amish Mafia, the way it was, I don't know, because it was originally an A&E show. I don't have access to it here, but when I go home, I do. And then obviously like regular live TV. So it's like every time I go home, because I go home, I make sure I fucking watch wrestling. It's literally like my most recents are always like USA, TBS, TNT, whatever this shit comes on, and then I don't even think my Hulu had access. No, I had that on Sling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Mm. So Alexis, we did go over the match card for Saturday night main event. Um, they only have one women's match on the card. There is the contract signing between Cody and Kevin that's going to be facilitated by Shawn Michaels, and that's pretty much it. And then we moved into Netflix. So they are raising the prices at Netflix. They're raising the price for the ad supported tier by like $1, and then they're raising the premium tier by like $2. Um, the other thing that I'm going to bring up, and then we can, once you have your say, we can go ahead and get up out of here. Netflix's audience has doubled at least twice. Well, Raw's audience has doubled at least twice on Netflix alone. They have twice the audience that they had over on USA Network currently on Netflix. And that's kind of to be expected, seeing as how Netflix is a global streaming service and just about anybody with Netflix can watch it, with the exception of a few countries. Like I saw some Nigerian people tweeting that they couldn't watch Netflix. They couldn't watch Raw on Netflix just yet. Don't know what they're going to do about that, but eventually they're going to have to fix that. Um, but their audience has like doubled since they left USA Network. The ratings have been pretty consistent across the board, despite the show fluctuating in terms of consistent entertainment. And that timing, that 2 hour, 30-minute mark that they're getting into, that people really like, that sweet spot. They seem to be holding strong to that. They might go to like 2:35, but they haven't been at full 3 hours since they debuted on Netflix. So Netflix
Except
is
for the
very
first,
happy.
I think, except for the first episode. I think
Yeah.
the first episode was 3
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, that's what I said, since they
Oh,
debuted on
okay,
Netflix.
yeah. My bad, I didn't hear that part.
Oh no, you're good. No worries. So they seem to be very happy. They are beaming with excitement about Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So Nicole had her say about it and about the pricing go up, and we did talk a little bit about the password sharing being completely eradicated with Netflix now. They make it very, very difficult for you to share your account with other people. So you're the last one to have the last say about Netflix's relationship with WWE, and then we're gonna get out of here.
Well, I'm not a big fan of them not being to let people share their passwords, but I mean, there's ways around it. Just gonna leave it at that. Um, so I'd like it actually, because if you think about it, a lot of people are doing away with cable. A lot of people are just going to streaming services. I was one of those people. That's why it made it hard to watch Raw or SmackDown without, waiting for it to come out the next day or trying to catch clips of it as it goes on. So, I think it's cool. I like it, and they have it where you can watch it like right afterwards, which I think is really, really cool that they do that.
Yeah.
Fan of the price increases, but I mean, unfortunately, it's 2025. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So nothing too crazy comes out of my mouth. Um, so honestly, I think it's great for WWE. I think it's great for people. They'll get some stuff figured out. But I like it. It's nice on Monday nights and then you don't have to always stay up till 11 o'clock on a Monday. That's real
You right.
freaking nice. If you ask me, I'd be like, because like there was one night I was watching and I'm like, why does this seem so early? And then I look over and I'm like, oh, it's only 10:30. What am I gonna do with this extra 30 minutes of my night now?
Lay down.
Well, I just don't like the whole where it's like, especially on Mondays, people have a hard time like getting up and going on Mondays, and it's just like, bleh. It's just, I don't know. I'm weird about it. I think it's a good thing for people who don't get cable and who just do like strictly streaming services. So at least I can at least watch something during the week,
Yeah. Well, y'all, we are gonna get out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. All right, you can always follow us on our socials. That is finally scrolling at the bottom. I was able to get it in this time. You can see all our socials on there, and this one will go up on Spotify just like the last episode did. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. The outro is gonna play, and you guys, if you want to, you can come on over to my page because I'm about to go live over there and do my weekly live. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Down for the count.